Hey everybody, it's Christine and it's Saturday, which means it's time for a new edition of Stealing Saturday. This week I am stealing from the talented Rebecca Keppel, and she has tons of layouts that I love, tons of cards that I love, so I really had to narrow this one down, but I really love the design of this one that she recently did in the Scrapping Summer series with Audrey Yeager, and so I decided to lift it. Now, all that said, mine ends up looking nothing like hers. Nothing at all. So I'm using the Boys collection, which is a brand new collection from Becky Adams for Scrapbook Expo. And Becky is a super talented designer. I love her work. I love who she is. She's just a really great lady. And so as soon as I saw this for sale, I snatched it right up, especially since it's boys. It really caught my attention. So what I am taking from Rebecca to start with is that she had like about a third of the layout in one patterned paper and then about 2/3 in another patterned paper. And then she also had that backed. So she backed with white. I am actually going to back with a striped paper because I wanted to be able to pull in some more color to the whole thing. Now, this collection is very colorful on its own, so I approached it somewhat cautiously so I didn't go overboard. Especially as far as patterns and stuff went. So for like my top paper there, I opted for white because I wanted to keep it a little calmer. I did back the whole thing also with yellow because, again, I wanted to settle the patterns. There's a lot of really great patterns in here. And so I wanted to make sure I really showcase that without going overboard, which is a tendency I have. I can get like so excited for all the different patterns that I just start slapping so many on there that before you know it, I've completely like, just done too much. So I was very cautious in approaching it and that. So what you can see now is that unlike Rebecca, she did her pictures along the top and she also did multiple pictures, which I loved. I'm going to actually flip it over and have my pictures on the bottom. No real reason for this other than as I looked at it, I liked it better that way. So that's what I did. I did also have one picture slightly bigger than the others, and I double matted that just like she did. Now, here's where I just totally go off on my own. I create this big, giant title focal point, and she did not have that. Hers was very clean, simple, and mine went a little bit in Christine's direction where it just got has a lot more going on. And that's the thing I love about this series is that you start, it's a jumping off point, and then you make it your own. Rebecca has a really clean style, and I tend to have a clean style, but I get a lot of layers and details going in there. And so you see my twist on it in there. I don't really know if in the end you can even tell that I lifted this layout from her, but I did. I truly did. So as I'm building my title, here's a couple of details. First of all, my orange stars I cut out in just straight up orange cardstock. Again, I didn't want to use the orange patterned paper that was in the collection because it was going to be too much if I did. I wanted that blue paper in the background to really pop. So straight up orange. I used some metal die cut files from My Favorite Things that have stitching around the edge, so that does add a nice little subtle detail without being overwhelming. And then I am building this massive title up there. I cut out Awesome from one of the cut apart cards that comes in this collection, and I originally thought I was going to use the sticker that says Part-Time Monster. I really liked it. I liked the concept because my son's making totally goofy faces in all of the pictures. But in the end, it just didn't fit quite right. And so I decided I didn't want that on there. That said, I did use all these little monster stickers because their faces just really matched up perfectly with the looks that my son is giving. So right now I am just playing around with the title, kind of trying to figure out where I want things. Hey, I'm going to bring an orange star in down there on the bottom as well so that I can create a good visual triangle there. And I'm going to bring in some white stars as well, again, to just make things pop a little bit more, and they are just solid, straight up white cardstock. I am mixing and matching whether they're flat or 3D, using some 3D foam squares from Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L, but other than that, they're very simple. Now, you can see I've got a pretty good layout going on here. I'm still struggling a little bit with the balance, but I'm going to go ahead and add in some Nuvo drops just to kind of put a final touch on it, and I'm going to be able to step back and look at it and decide whether that actually was the final touch or whether I need to shift some things around. And I'm going to be honest with you, as I'm looking at it here, as I'm doing this voiceover, I don't like where it's landed at this point. It's good, but it's not quite right for me. I think there's a lot going on up top, a lot going on with the pictures, and then the bottom looks very empty. So I'm going to play with things and see if I can figure out a way to adjust that without making too much. That's the difficulty. You always have to be careful that you don't get so much going on that everything is overwhelmed. I was really tired when I was creating this, so that was a little bit of a struggle for me in that respect. I was so excited to play with this collection. I was so excited to lift from Rebecca, but I was also very, very physically exhausted, and so I think that was part of why I struggled a little bit more with this. It had nothing to do with anything that was in front of me. I have about 40 ideas for this small little kit. But you know how that goes. Sometimes if your brain's tired or your body's tired, things just don't flow as smoothly. And so that's why it was good to just start adding some final details and step away and have a look at it again. So where I end up is that I'm going to pull off that square that says part-time monster. I'm going to just eliminate that completely. And then I'm going to add a little bit more to the bottom to bring in some color. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the monster stickers and move it down below. I'm also going to add in some more white stars down below. Adding in that monster just makes it pop a little bit more. I also added in a little phrase sticker down there. And then the final thing I'm going to do is add in some journaling. And I'm just showing you now how I added a little more in, and you can see that in the final picture. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you will check out this collection and check out Rebecca's channel and hit that subscribe button if you've enjoyed what you've seen. Thanks so much for being here.
Now we have pretzel bread.
Now we're at a pretzel bread.
To have that one. We have the